Hi guys, welcome back to another video from Nia Creative Home YouTube channel. For today's video I will talk about and I will explore with you the different types of texture. Texture is an important element in design. It is something that brings senses, that incorporate personality and impact your space too. So let's get started. Texture can impact your atmosphere. For example, rough textures can create a sense of coziness and informality, while smooth textures can convey a sense of sleekness and sophistication. Additional textures surface can add depth and visual interest to a room, creating a more dynamic and engagement environment. When considering the impact of texture on a space, it's important to take into consideration the purpose of the room and the mood that you want to convey. I always mention that it's important for you when you are designing a space to think about the purpose of the space in the first stage of your designing process. It's really important to know what senses you want to bring with that space, what type of design that you want to incorporate, that the style. It's really important to think about the purpose in the beginning. When considering the impact of texture on your space, for example, if you are designing a bedroom, a cozy and inviting atmosphere will be ideal for that space. In this case, incorporating materials like a plush rug or a nitro blanket or a fluffy rug can add warmth and visual interest into that space. On the other hand, if you are designing a modern and minimalistic living room, for example, a smooth and sleek texture may be more appropriate. Consider incorporating materials such as polished concrete or smooth leather to create that sense of sophistication and elegance. It's also worth noting that texture can be used in combination with other materials, with other design elements such as color and lighting to create a cozy, cohesive and impactful space. Be careful when considering the textures you incorporate into a room. You can create a space that is not only visual appealing, not only stunning and beautiful, but also needs to be functional, and they need to have that comfortable feeling as well in that space. Now let me give you guys some tips to enhance the texture that you use in a space. Using layers of textures can create the depth and interest in the room that you are looking for. Considering, for example, pairing smooth leather sofa with a chunky nitro or a sleek metal accent table with a rough wooden side table, for example. Or if you have two rugs, one can be plain and simple, and the other and then you can put on top of that rug other one with that fluffy touch, for example, that creates like different it's the same object, is two rugs, but with different types of textures, creating different sensations, different feelings. Don't forget about the walls. Texture wallpaper or features made of natural stone can add a lot of character to a space. Some walls, instead of having that plain simple painting in the wall, you can create the texture on the wall, and that brings a visual appealing to the space as well. Lighting can also play a significant role in highlighting the texture, because the way that the light reflects on for example, on the wall, the way the light reflects on the wall will create more depth to that wall, creating more impact. Use lighting in a strategic way so that you can create shadows and highlights that emphasize the texture of specific materials. When working with texture, it is important to consider how they feel as well as how they look. Think about a plush rug or a smooth leather chair. Those elements are important. The material that you choose, it is important. And texture is not just like a rough wall, for example, rough concrete wall. No, textures are they there are a big variety of textures. The texture can be like a smooth table, it can be a rug under your feet, it can be metal, wood, different textures on wallpapers, different textures on paintings, for example. So instead of having like a plain painting, a plain draw can have texture on that painting. All of those elements will bring texture to your space. By taking time to consider texture carefully, you can create a space that is not only beautiful but also inviting and functional. As I mentioned before, it's super important to think about the functionality when you are creating the space, not just visual appealing, but the functionality of the space. It is important. The functionality of the elements it is important to think about that, because texture, for example, plays with the sensation. I keep mentioning in this video that different textures bring different sensation, because that's truth, because texture is related to the touch, and the touch is one of our important senses. So the way that we feel the material, the way that we feel even the way that we feel the environment, just looking at it, creates different sensation within ourselves. So that's the reason why it is important to pay attention to the texture, to choose them, and to use them in your space. If you want to create something interesting that you want to bring those sensations up, use wisely textures around your designs. Mix and match, for example, different patterns to create visual interest. For example, you might pair a stripe airy rug with a floral throw pillow or a plaid blanket. Mix and match and play with different types of textures, something more smooth, something more rough, for example. Consider using natural materials like wood, jute, or linen to add texture to your design. These materials have a tactile quality that can make a space feel warm and inviting. Artwork, as I mentioned before, can add texture too. You look for pieces that have a three-dimensional quality, for example, such as a sculpture or a media or a mixed media piece, for example. Don't be afraid to experiment with color when working with texture. Combining different shades and hues can create a rich layer effect that adds depth to any space. You can be as playful as you want. You can be creative as you want when you are choosing, when you are decorating, and then when you are incorporating different textures to your design. I have brought like 3 examples of different types of materials. You have the wood, you have the metal, you have the concrete, you have stone, you have a lot of materials. But for example, in decoration elements, simple things, if you don't want to use too much texture, but you just want to have like those points of different texture in your design, you can use materials. For example, on my house, I love pines. I love pine trees and I love pines. That's the reason why, for example, if I find some pine like this that looks almost like a tree, for me they are beautiful, and they have texture, they have visual interest, they bring depth to my decoration. I love it. It is, for me, it is a way to bring the outdoors indoors, and I love pines. I have a thing with pines. You can have them like simple as this. You can put them in a beautiful inside of a vase and put a lot of different pines, different shapes of pines, or you can just use it like this and you can paint it. It's up to you. Be creative. Use your creativity to create different decoration items. This is a simple item, and I found around my around my house easily. That's the reason why I'm always keeping bringing them back to bring them to my house. I have a lot more, probably too much, I don't know. Here, for example, I have this stone. Okay, is a stone, what is about the stone, Sandra? I like the texture of the stone. It is huge, it's super heavy, but has like different colors and has some holes here, and just the simple stone, if you find the strategic place to put it, it brings interest to the space too. Again, brings outdoors, indoors, and I can use it to put on top of a paper, on top of a book, or something like that. But I love it. It's simple, but it's beautiful. I think I found this one on the beach. Every time that I go to the beach, I find a lot of beautiful pieces that I can use to decorate my space with different textures, different colors. Great place to find decorative items. This one is a piece of wood that someone cut and they didn't need it, so I'm using it to decorate my house too. Again, different textures, different feelings, almost like as I have like a tree inside of my house, a small tree inside of my house. I just sit there by the window, and with the different lights that the natural light brings inside of the house, this just simple piece of wood has different stages throughout the day. So it is visually appealing, it is simple, and it's beautiful. There are tons of ways for you to use texture. Be creative, play with your senses, think about that you want, the type of sensations that you want to bring to that space. What kind of space is this? Is this a space that I want something more smooth, that I want something more rough, that I need to invigorate my senses? It's up to you to decide what you want to create with that space, what sensations you want to create that space, and then be creative, use your imagination. Remember that texture is an important element of design that can make a room feel more interesting, comfortable, and welcoming. By incorporating a variety into your space, you can create a cohesive, visually pleasing design that reflects your personality and your style. So be creative. Now let's analyze different types of textures throughout images. Come with me. On this bathroom, you have that rough wall that creates interesting in depth to the bathroom. It is beautiful. The materials look so natural, and they combine together. The combination with that wall, with the lighting, with the wood floor, creates a beautiful in terms of aesthetic, but at the same time it is interesting and plays with your sensations too. On this other bathroom is something more smooth. You have the concrete on the floor, you have the concrete on the walls, then mix it with that tile, beautiful black tile, then you have the wood there, and you have the mirrors that will play with the mirror that will play with that design too. It is simple, beautiful, but with a statement. Now you have this living room. On this living room, you have so many different textures. You have the concrete on the floor, you have the rug, you have the wood, you have even the wood on the lampshade, on the lamp. It's beautiful. You have that beautiful wall that features on the walls and creating interesting visual design, and you have that beautiful sofa with a lot of texture. This is a great place, a place together with your friends, together like with a conference or something like that. It's really beautiful, this living room, or this could be a waiting room. Anybody that would have to stay there to wait for something, it is a pleasing place to be. It is amazing. The design is beautiful, and all of those textures together brings good sensations to anybody that stays there. Now, I already talked about artwork and how can artwork play with your sensations, because you can add different dimensions to your artwork. In this case, you have the mountains, and with that, the incorporation of different textures, it's almost like you are really in the desert and you are feeling the sand under your feet. Is beautiful. On this other artwork, for me, it feels like it's a river running to the hill, and you have like the grass around, brings sensation. It is beautiful, and it is interesting piece of art. Here in this kitchen, you have tons of different textures, tons of different materials bringing different sensations. This kitchen has a big impact. It has a big statement. You have those bricks on the walls, you have the wood on the ceiling, you have the wood on the floor, you have the tiles, you have the combination with the wood and the metal. You have so many different materials that brings so many different sensations, and the kitchen is all about that. Kitchen, you prepare so many different dishes with different the sources are from different countries, different experiences, different types of food. So I think this kitchen incorporates all of those sensations that you can achieve in the kitchen when you are cooking. It's a beautiful kitchen with a lot of statement. In this last image, you have a beautiful living room. It is simple with plain colors, but with plenty of different texture. You have a rug, you have the fluffy throw in the sofa, you have that brick wall, and then you have the concrete floor, combined with the simple plain white wood. Even the flowers, the plants give different textures, because the plants, they have different shapes, and that create more depth to the space, and it is interesting. And this living room is for me, the senses that I give with this living room is a quiet, peaceful, and comfortable place to be. Now that you have all the knowledge about texture, how to use texture, how to be bold if you need it, if you want, you can be bold, you can have smooth touches of texture. It is up to you. It's up for what you want to achieve with that, with your decoration, with the space that you are creating, with the type of with the purpose that you will have with that space, what type of person that will use that space. Use all of those features and elements to think about your design when you are adding texture to it. And I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you get like a ton of content and ideas and inspiration. If you want me to bring more ideas and more inspiration with more texture, let me know here on the comments down below. As usual, if you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe to this beautiful channel to create this beautiful community of creative people. Share with your friends, with your family, with anybody that you know that will benefit with this video. Save this video on your playlist too, and I hope to see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye people.